Okay, in this example, following on from the first video in this series, which looks at creating a character using graphic symbols, the movie clip symbol, we're now going to look at some different ways of animating that character in a basic way. Okay, I still haven't got arms in, but at this point in time I'm going to live with that. Okay, so we, at the end of the last video, put in transformation points, which are evident by these circles, which you can see on some of them. These are all on different layers, so we can create basic tweens. So for example, if I just tween the foot, the lower leg and the upper leg to illustrate how we might move them, let's say over the space of half a second. The current frame rate is 24 frames per second, that's the default in Flash. I will just put in a keyframe there, or in fact a frame. I'll use frame there, and then I'll put motion tween on each of those. Back down, let's put frames in each of the other two layers so the rest of the character still exists, and then I'll just reposition parts of the body using the free transform tool. So what I'll do is I'll swing the leg backwards a bit, and then I'll move this part of the leg over there. And the ankle like that. So let's just see how that looks. Might look a little bit disjointed and start off with. Okay. So generally the position's okay. We've just got to consider how the rest of that might move to look a little bit more natural. Okay, we've got a relatively simplistic movement there. Just using basic tween. Okay, so that's one example. Might take a few seconds serving onto a remote drive. There we go. That's one thing you should pay attention to. Flash really doesn't like working on remote drives, but in this case I haven't necessarily got a choice. And I'm just going to undo those last few changes by removing tweens, getting rid of keyframes, and returning it to its original state roughly. Okay, so I'll try and get the leg looking as natural as possible. And then what I'm going to show you is the burning tool, which is used to give what is known as an armature to a symbol. And so I'll just zoom out a little bit so we can see the whole body. Move my tools a little bit closer so everything's centered. And it's this one around here, it looks a bit like a burn. We select that, and that will allow us to create an armature. So I'm going to choose the neck as a start point. I'm going to move that across a bit, I think. Just undo that and zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so I'll connect that. I think I snap into the transform point I created in the first place. and again to there, and then into the ankle, like so, and I can create another one into the head, except with the head like that. And then using the selection tool I can move those individually. You'll notice that in my layers panel we've now got a layer called armature 2, and all of the other ones are now surplus to requirement because they don't contain anything. And also that layer goes green if I want to create, so for instance, a 12-second animation. But before we do, I'll just show you. I'll just show you how that works. So we've got the selection tool, and we can move different parts of the body. And this is quite a free movement to start off with, so things will move unnaturally like so. So just undo that. What we can do is select each key point of a burn, and then we can set constraints. So for example, I don't necessarily want that part of the body to rotate, and that means that everything else will rotate, but this will not. So then all of a sudden the head of it will not do that, which can be constrained to a certain point. Is just trust that. This one here we'll put a constraint on. It will default to a rough 45-45, which will not look too bad. Some positions might look a little bit unnatural. And we'll also constrain this one in terms of rotation. We can enable translation, so for joints to move, but we don't necessarily need to do that at this point in time. So you see there that the leg moves roughly in what would be considered a natural way. The foot, like the head, can be positioned quite malleably, so we have to be quite careful about how that looks in terms of natural positioning. But altogether, generally speaking, we've got enough control to create some kind of animation. So I'll try and position it where it was to start off with. 12 seconds in, insert a pause, at which point I will pull the foot up like this and point the toes down, and you will see that animation. Here we go. Okay, and that's the end of this video.